This is Tassia from Love Light Home Design, your home harmony healer. So today we're going to be talking about harmony infusion. This is a little bit different. Well, I always say it's a little bit different. That's because what I do is different, guys. All right, so what's harmony infusion? Harmony infusion is when I create a bond with the people who live in a house or reside in a space or work in a space with the soul of their space. I talk about that a lot. And if you haven't watched any of my previous videos, I always talk about what a soul is to me. So we all think of ourselves as the physical body, the emotional part, and the spiritual part. The soul to me is kind of like the in-between of the spiritual and the heart. It's, you know, the emotional part. It's really your heart space with your house. So when I connect the soul of you to the soul of your space, I mean it. And I'm going to give you some examples. But let me talk about why I do harmony infusion. A lot of you may not realize, or you may not be aware of how you really feel about your space and what's going on. So we talked about in a previous video about energy breakthroughs and how I create a breakthrough of energy in a space. Sometimes it's not about the energy of the space itself by using feng shui or something like that. It's the energy of you. It's your emotional part of you. So let me give you some examples. I always love examples and stories of people that I've worked with before. Now, if you have a certain resistance, some people have resistance to certain areas of their house. If you've lost somebody, and if, say, a bedroom, a kitchen, a part of the house where that person that you have lost connects with a certain part of that space, there's a memory of that person in the space. Say, for example, kitchen. If you've lost, the person that you've lost was always in the kitchen, was a really good cook. There was, you know, a comfort of seeing that person cooking and being in the space with that person. How do you think your connection with the kitchen is right now if you've lost someone? You know, there's a trauma that has gone on there. And you start resisting the kitchen. You have an adverse thought or reaction towards the kitchen. And as a designer, I obviously can go in and take apart the kitchen, put it back together, and make it absolutely beautiful. But are you actually going to feel the heart of the kitchen if you still are reminded of it? Maybe visually it looks different, but there's still some kind of recorded connection. So I sever that connection and I reattach you to the heart of the kitchen in a different way, so that the memory of that person is still there, but it's now a positive memory, and now you're back in harmony with that particular space. So it could be a family room, it could be a basement, it could be a bedroom, it could be the entire house itself. I also give you an example of a client that I worked with a couple of months ago. I was called in to do a feng shui appointment, and I kind of knew before I went there, because I always know if something's going on that's not just about the feng shui, that there was something more to the client. So when I went there, by talking to the family, I realized that this was a brand new house, beautiful brand new house that he built for his family. And during the build, everything that could go wrong went wrong. Now, there were a lot of different factors behind it. Where he built his house, he was not supposed to build it because of certain spiritual or aspects of it, and it got in the way. So after the house was built and after he moved in with his family, all he could think about with the house was how everything went wrong, and he hated his house. He didn't want to come home. He was scaring his family. It was just, you know, ridiculous. And because he had just built it, he wasn't going to go anywhere else. So for 1 year, the family lived like that. And when I arrived, I realized, I did a feng shui assessment because we needed to harmonize the space anyway and make sure everything was healthy. But I essentially needed to reconnect and harmonize, infuse harmony for him with his space. So what I needed to do was to get him to visualize his space in a different way, create a different story in his mind that would reconnect. The beauty of the house. What could he see that was a gift? each part of the house was a gift when he built it, and we reconnected him. Now, how do I do that? And obviously, you know, with what I have in terms of the gift of clairvoyancy, I could talk to whoever I needed to talk to in the spiritual realm to understand what was going on and why this was created in the first place. But remember, I'm also an intervener, and I'm trained in grief aspects and sensory aspects. So I left him and that day with a brand new vision of how his house was. And when I spoke to his wife the week after, they said immediately when I left, everything, all the anger, the upset, the distress that he had with regards to the house, it was gone. And he and his family are now beautifully living in the space. And, you know, it makes me emotional thinking that I could bring that to them. So when I talk about harmony infusion, this is what I'm doing. Think of it, you know, that when you live in a space, or you are a being in a space, there's the physical part, there's the emotional part, and there's the spiritual part of you that needs to reconnect. And if for some reason you're not connected, if something is wrong and you kind of are aware, you're not sure, and you don't know why you just can't feel your space the way you really want to, all we need to do is find a way to infuse that harmony back for you, to reconnect all those three parts with the health of your space. All right, guys, so that's what a harmony infusion is. And the next video that we're going to talk about is how to bring peace back into the space, especially during the social distancing, or if you're at home right now under isolation. Some of you are feeling like you're going stir crazy. So let's talk about how to bring some peace back in your space based on feng shui principles and a lot of the other stuff that goes with it. So, saying sayonara for today. This is Tassia from Love Light Home Design, your home harmony healer, bringing the heart to every space.